Today is debut day for Marvel Super Heroes, which means tons of cards got revealed, and I'm so excited to dive into the set. I've identified the ones that look the best to me for draft, and most importantly, at your pre-release event. So keep an eye out for these cards, and I'm excited to get to even more of the set in the coming days. First up, we have Doctor Doom. He's 4 black for a 3/3 legendary creature human scientist villain. He says when Doctor Doom enters, create 2 3/3 colorless robot villain artifact creature tokens named Doombot. As long as you control an artifact creature or a plan, Doctor Doom has indestructible, and at the beginning of your end step, you draw a card and lose 1 life. So not only are you getting 9/9 worth of stats for 6 mana spread across 3 bodies, you're also drawing an extra card every single turn at the cost of just 1 life, and the part that's drawing you the cards is indestructible as long as you have an artifact creature or a plan. So keep in mind that the comma is very important. You have to have an artifact creature specifically. It's not artifact creature or plan, it's artifact creature or plan, but you come with 2 3/3 artifact creatures that are the Doom bots. And so Doctor Doom is really hard to get off the battlefield because your opponent has to get rid of 2 3/3s before they can even kill the Doctor Doom with conventional kill spells that say destroy. And also just in combat he tangles really well because he's got indestructible. So your opponent can't really attack you very effectively past your indestructible 3/3. You're drawing a ton of cards, you've got tons of stats. It's just a fantastic card. And if you're wondering what a plan is, it's an enchantment subtype that's found on some cards in this set. But this card's pretty self-contained, pretty insane. I can see why it's a mythic rare, and it's definitely one you're going to want to be looking for in your sealed events, because it's just, if you open this card, you should probably put it in your deck pretty much. Next up is Captain Marvel, Earth's Protector, another insane card. 3 white for a 5/4 human Kree hero. She's got flash, flying, lifelink, and power up, which is a new mechanic, which is an activated ability. So it's 5 white to put a +1/+1 counter and an indestructible counter on Captain Marvel, and you can activate each power up ability only once, and you reduce the cost by her mana cost if she entered this turn. So you can play it as a 5 mana 5/4 with flying and lifelink and flash, but you can also then later use the activated ability, or you can just wait till you have 7 mana, or if you top deck it when you have 7 mana, you can immediately power it up to give it that indestructible counter for a 5 mana discount the turn Captain Marvel comes into play. This card's just insane. The fact that you can flash this in as a giant flying creature with lifelink means that you can pretty much just ambush something in combat in a ton of scenarios, and the fact that it can get indestructible once again just makes it really hard to interact with. I mean, these are mythic rares, so getting indestructible isn't going to come up all that often, but keeping an eye out for exile based removal to deal with this kind of messed up indestructible nature of this card seems like it might have to be something you really want in your events, because this card is so hard to beat. If it ever becomes indestructible, it's like almost impossible to beat. Even if it's not indestructible, it's sometimes like just flashing something in, killing something in combat, and then your opponent kills it. They've still had to deal with the fact that you gained 5 life, ate their creature in combat, and then they had to reuse your removal spell on it. So it's still going to be a 2-for-1 and have gained you 5 life in a lot of scenarios. And if they don't kill it, you pretty much just can't lose, because the 10-point life swing of you hitting them for 5 and gaining 5 every turn is just so much. Captain Marvel's absolutely nutso. Next up is Wolverine Fierce Fighter. He's 2 red-green for a 3/5 with haste. He's a mutant berserker hero. When Wolverine enters, he fights up to 1 other target creature, and if damage will be dealt to Wolverine, instead that damage is dealt, but all other damage already dealt to him is healed. So basically what that means is when you play him as a 3/5 and he fights something, he can then like kind of rumble into combat, and like the damage won't like stay on him pretty much if they're trying to block it with something else. So like you have Wolverine come in, fight their 3/3. If their 2/2 blocks Wolverine, then like the 3 damage that was already on him gets healed. And so that's just kind of like, basically it just means that he'll be able to rumble into combat a lot of the time when he comes down. Now this isn't a mythic rare, so it's not like quite as like, oh my gosh, this is insane as the other cards we've looked at, but this card's still pretty dang good. When you play this on turn 4 and kill whatever your opponent did on turn 3 and then hit them with a 3/5 haste immediately, you're just in such a commanding position in that game. A 3/5 is a pretty beefy body at that stage of the game. Getting a 2-for-1 from your card is also quite nice. And it might be hard for your opponent to take this card down in some scenarios, because they might be relying on like using a couple of burn spells maybe, or they have like a creature plus a burn spell or something like that, and they kind of have to take him down all in one fell swoop. So Wolverine being a little bit extra hard to kill, definitely a factor as well. Really strong card, even if it's not quite as flashy as some of those other cards that we've looked at already. Next up is Tony Stark, 1 and a blue for a 1/3. It's a legendary creature, human, artificer, hero. You can pay 1 and tap, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And it has 4 red, blue, transform Tony Stark, activate only as a sorcery. However, you can also just spend 4 red, blue to cast it as the backside of the card, which I'll get to in a moment. But playing this card on turn 2 and then just spending 1 mana every turn activating it, when you're playing an artifact deck, which the blue-red deck looks to be, this is basically, in many cases, going to be 1 extra mana to just draw a card, and not just any card, but a card that's maybe synergistic with your deck, because it would be an artifact, or a card that like digs you towards like maybe one of your best cards. You have other good artifacts. You like can dig towards actual spells, which like in the mid to late game is even better because you want to be drawing spells instead of lands at that stage of the game. So the fact that you can kind of know that maybe you're going to be able to build around this is quite nice. And what really amplifies the power of the card is the backside of the card, which you can just cast. You can just spend 4 red, blue to cast this as a 5/5 flyer with haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may put an artifact card from your hand onto the battlefield if it's an equipment attached to the invincible Iron Man. So basically, one of the play patterns is you play it on turn 2, spend a few turns adding artifacts to your hand, and then flip it, and then put an artifact into play directly, so you just get a huge mana advantage while you're getting your 5/5 flyer. The other thing you can do is you can just spend 6 mana, get a 5/5 flyer with haste, maybe put another artifact into play, maybe even not. A lot of the times, a 5/5 flyer with haste is going to be enough to kind of end the game in like 1 hit or maybe 2 hits, and that could be really good as well, especially because sometimes you're going to be able to play this, also put another artifact into play, and get like amplify your mana. So you spend like 6 mana for a 5/5 flyer with haste, but it also kind of rebated you like 3 mana if you have another artifact to play, something like that. Overall, lots of flexibility. The artifacts deck is going to really, we'll have to see how it comes together, but this is going to be a really, really strong card in blue-red, and it's going to be the sort of thing where if you are playing like a close game and then your opponent hits you with a 5/5 flyer, that could end the game, or it could kind of snowball from the early turns if you don't have early removal for it. So a really strong card as well. Next up is King T'Challa. It's 1 white blue for a 3/2 with flash. Whenever a player draws their second card each turn, you draw a card. So that would include yourself. So if you manage to draw a second card yourself, you would also draw a card, which is kind of interesting. But the real power of this card comes from the back mode of the card, which is 4 white blue to either play or flip King T'Challa into. And that is Black Panther Hope Enduring. So it's 4 white blue, it's a 3/3 with flash and double strike. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to Black Panther, which just means that some decks are really going to struggle to kill this guy. And whenever Black Panther deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So the deal preventing all damage means that if you play this guy against like a red-green deck, for example, they might just have no removal spells that can deal with this guy, so it gives it like functional indestructible. And the fact that it also like really rewards you for hitting your opponent means that you can like flash this in on their end step, and then you attack them, and like you flash this in actually during combat, eat one of their creatures. If they can't kill it in their second main phase, then you attack them. They can't really block it that well because they can never really kill it in combat because it prevents all damage, and then you just draw 2 cards because it'll deal combat damage to them twice with the double strike. And so Black Panther Hope Enduring is just an absolutely power it's just a super powerhouse, and it's the sort of thing where when your opponent flashes this in combat, especially if you're playing certain like color combinations, it's going to be really hard to kill. And other decks, maybe some black decks can kill it or things like that with just like destroy based removal effects. But a lot of the time, even if you are facing those matchups, you can just do something like flash this in on their end step when they're tapped out, attack them, draw 2 cards, and then even if they kill it, you've still gotten up a significant amount of cards. This guy is really, really strong. Next up is Thor, God of Thunder. 3 red, red for a 5/5 flyer. God Warrior Hero. When Thor enters, exile target equipment, instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. And then whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Thor deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to any target. So one of the things that's really nice about this card is you always end up like up a card pretty much. As long as you have something to exile, you're probably going to be able to play it on your next turn. So even if they kill the Thor God of Thunder, you've still gotten kind of a 2-for-1, which is a great baseline to have for this sort of card. You'll notice that that's kind of a trend with almost every single card we have looked at. But the thing is if they don't kill the Thor, it's almost like the game just ends because you played Thor, you get your spell, and then you play like say a 4 mana spell, and you can either like deal 4 to one of their creatures to just get even further ahead on value, or sometimes your opponent's going to be at a medium life total and you just like deal 4 directly to them because it can deal its mana value to any target. So you just deal 4 to them, hit them for 5 with your flyer, and the game just ends. And Thor God of Thunder overall is just the sort of card that you really can't end up in a negative spot. He's only 1 color to play. A lot of the times that you open this in your pre-release deck, or pre-release pool, I mean, you're going to want to have this in your final deck because it just doesn't ask a lot of you, but it just like is going to be absolutely super powerful and really crush your opponents. Next up is Leader Super Genius. It's 2 blue for a 1/3 Gamma Scientist villain. If a creature you control would connive, instead you draw a card, then that creature connives. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control connives, which means you draw a card, then discard a card. If you discarded a non-land card, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. So basically, if you play Leader Super Genius on turn 4, you move to combat, you immediately get to draw a card and then connive. And so he immediately basically draws you 2 and then you discard 1, which is just really powerful to get access to every turn. Again, if your opponent kills this instantly, sure, you're not the happiest. But if they don't have a removal spell for it, like right away, then Leader Super Genius just takes over the game because you're drawing 2, discarding 1 every turn. Sometimes if you're going to be discarding a spell, you're going to be putting counters on things as well. So it's like a +1/+1 counter and a draw 2, discard 1. It's just the sort of thing where it just takes over the game so incredibly rapidly. Even if they kill it instantly, you've still gotten that draw 2, discard 1. And if they don't kill it instantly, you end up in an insane spot. Also, you can like combo this with other cards that have connive in the set, because that is going to be found on some other cards in the set. So you could do something like in the mid game, maybe you have a turn where you go like Leader, then play a card that has connive if you top deck Leader in the mid stages of the game, or you go like you have Leader in play and then you play another connive spell, all of a sudden you just get like supercharged value. It's just the sort of thing where it takes over the game, and it's a self-contained value engine, and it is pretty much going to pull you ahead even if it dies instantly. So Leader Super Genius, a fantastic rare.